Hello guys and welcome, it is ThatSrb2DUDE here today bringing you yet another video. Now this is just going to be a little side series that I decided to make, and it's known as the Get Good Before Launch series. I mean, if you put two and two together, it's basically a series where I give you some tips and a bit of an analysis about the weapons in Splatoon 2 that we know of so far and that we've used and played with. Basically every weapon, in the global test fire, which there's only 4 of them. So I expect to see at least 4, maybe even 5 episodes from this series. I don't mind to do a very intensive thing, but just from what we know so far, and me explaining you some things that you can take away when Splatoon 2 launches, or maybe if we get lucky, we'll get another global test fire to try everything out, and I can give you some good insight for that. Anyways, I'm going to stop rambling. I'm actually going to continue on with this video. So today we are going to be talking about the Splat Roller. Now for the Splat Roller's kit, for sub-weapons we have the suction bomb, which is basically a bomb where you throw and it can stick onto basically anything. It can stick onto the ceiling, it can stick onto the wall, it can stick onto the floor, anything. I know a lot of people from my channel that are already subscribed, you probably already know this, but for all the newcomers coming into Splatoon, this is what the suction bomb does. And for the special weapon, we also have the Splatdown. Once the special has been activated, you'll fly into the air and slam down an earthquake of ink, and it will kill anything that's in the radius of the Splatdown. Now, one interesting thing that's changed with the Splat Roller is that once you go on a roll, no pun intended, you start to accelerate in speed continuously as you're rolling. Now, of course, you'll cap at a max speed because, if you continue to accelerate, you'll be going 100 miles per hour around the map. I mean, honestly, that would be very cool, but it would be overpowered, so it's not a thing. Now, I really do enjoy this new mechanic, mainly because it's the thing that can help you in building special faster. It also makes it easier to crush your opponents that are running away from you. Now, this is just a small mechanic that, changes the Splat Roller just slightly in gameplay. But the biggest thing, in my opinion, that completely changes the roller's regular playstyle is the vertical flick. Now, the vertical flick with the Splat Roller is a completely game-changing mechanic for the roller class. The vertical flick gives you a huge amount of different options in gameplay. It allows you to throw a line of ink in front of you, cutting through your opponent's ink, and it'll allow you to engage your targets with ease once going forwards. Using this as an escape option also does work, because one thing as a roller in Splatoon 1, when you need to try to escape and you're surrounded by ink, it is very, very hard to escape from that unless you have like a Kraken or something, which doesn't exist in this game anymore. But I can definitely see that using the vertical flick, if you are surrounded by ink, will be a great option to actually get out of the situation. Now, another thing about the vertical flick is that it's great for attacking enemies that are at a longer range. It's also a great way to space out your enemies that don't have the same amount of range as your vertical flick. Imagine it as a whip. Basically, you have some sort of thing trying to attack you, but it can't attack you from far away. It can only attack you if it comes close to you. You can use your vertical flip to mainly keep away any opponents that are trying to be a threat to you. This gives the roller class a great way to hold areas, and in this case, this weapon can be used to fulfill the anchor role. Now, the vertical flick isn't the greatest option in close range engagements. Now, I know what you're thinking. If you can become extremely good with the vertical flick, you can take out anything at any range. And this is correct. But there are other ways to make sure that you get the kill confirmed and become just a more consistent player. And this is basically another way that can help you eliminate your enemies in close range engagements. And this option is known as the old school flick. Now, I know what you're thinking. How did the old flick from Splatoon 1 come back into the game? Well, the thing is that you have to do it differently. In Splatoon 1, what you'll normally do, of course, is jump and flick. And in Splatoon 2, when you do the jump and flick, you do a vertical flick instead of the regular one in Splatoon 1. But in Splatoon 2, what you need to do the old school flick is that you need to begin the flick first, and quickly, once you have pressed the flick button, jump at the same time. This will allow you to perform the old school flick that we all know and love from Splatoon 1. Using this as an option to take out closer ranged enemies is amazing, I must tell you. This is because the old school flick has a much wider hitbox when thrown. The old school flick is also a much better option for attacking enemies that are on higher ledges. Using the vertical flick on a higher ledge isn't the greatest option, as you'll most likely hit a small margin of the upper ledge, but using the old school flick on a higher ledge will allow you to have the possibility of getting more than one kill and hitting a much wider range upon the ledge. Now, using these two types of flick variations does take some time to get used to. One of them is that you have to jump and then flick, and the other one is that you have to flick and then jump. Basically, the inputs are the exact same except they're swapped around. It takes a bit of time, but once you get to master and notice the difference between the flicks, you'll be able to take on short range engagements and long range engagements seamlessly. The last thing I would like to talk about is the Splatdown special for the Roller class. This special weapon can be used effectively in a pinch. The Splatdown special isn't the most easiest special to get used to at first. However, if you're able to predict the player's movement where they are within your Splatdown radius, this can cause some devastating results to the opposing team. In my opinion, using this special in big confrontations where your teammates are in close range firefights is an easier way to sneak a kill. The reason being is because the opposing team will not be your primary focus. So if you're able to get yourself into the situations by not even being spotted and probably even using the use of your vertical flick, using the Splatdown special effectively upon the firefight can also make you a huge lifesaver for your teammate. Now, I didn't get to try this in the test fire, but I assume that you'll be able to spook a lot of opposing teammates out by jumping off high ledges and using the Splatdown special. Considering that you're also able to perform this special whilst coming from a super jump, I have no doubt that this is also possible. To conclude, the Splat Roller in Splatoon 2 is far better than it ever has been since Splatoon 1, with the vertical flick to allow you to engage your opponents aggressively. Also, the old school flick being a passive aggressive way to engage your targets in close range combat, the Splat Roller now has a vast amount of playstyles that can be performed. I really look forward to the future for how people are going to be playing the Splat Roller and its new mechanics. Now, that is all from me, guys. I hope these tips and this analysis helped you, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, favorite, comment and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch, both in the description below. Do it for both if you're feeling generous. And as always, guys, this has been ThatSrb2DUDE, and I shall see you guys in a future video.